Just goes down this kind of crazy wild ride, and all of a sudden you're on the Cody coaster. Ah, it's scary.
Hello and welcome to Happily Ever Reality. I am so glad you're here. I had to start off with that clip of Robin. It's not very often that I am amused by the things that she says, but I did find that funny, specifically the part at the end where she acted like she was kind of screaming. That was pretty good, Robin. And I also like it, the Cody coaster. I'm probably going to have to say that now. Let's start off talking about the intro to the show. They no longer have taglines. And I'm like, how long has it been that they don't say anything in the beginning? Was it like that last season? I clearly don't pay attention to the very, very beginning of the show because I don't know when they quit having them. But I would have loved an updated taglines for each wife and Cody for season 18. The show starts off with Cody going on a man trip with his brother Michael and his friends Brian and Nathan. At first, I was a little bit annoyed with the storyline. I thought TLC was just going to drag something out for as long as possible, like they're known for doing. But I ended up really enjoying this. It was sort of nice to see Cody talking about his marriages with other men instead of talking to either, the camera during a confessional or talking to the other wives while they're all sitting outside. Like, those scenes are kind of done over and over. So this was a change that I enjoyed. I think it was also kind of good for him to kind of talk it out with a few other people. There is this part where he's talking and he refers to this divorce, Christine leaving him, as the check mark of shame. I was really surprised he said that. I think for other people that wouldn't have been surprising, but for Cody, I feel like he must not realize to the rest of the world how he appears, because I can think of other things Cody's done that are way worse. Like, this separation does not compare to how neglectful he is as a father and how he hasn't been there for his children the way he needs to. This divorce really does not make him look bad to me, and I think to most other viewers. So I wonder if Cody has any idea how people feel about him or has any idea how neglectful he's been. I don't think there's a lot in that part where he's talking to his friends and his brother that's new. I think he sort of says stuff we've already heard, but there were a few things that stood out. One of them is when he says Christine left and he went online to try to look for ways to handle the divorce. He wanted to hear what other men had to say or what other people had to say, and he said he was already angry, but then he found like anti-women groups, and it just added fuel to the fire. And I could really see that happening. The internet has a way of doing that. If you went out there and found groups of divorced men or forums or Reddit posts where there were really angry men and it just went on and on and on, I could see that sort of getting in someone's head. We see that with incel groups. I think it could have added to Cody's anger. If you just hear people saying anti-women stuff and blaming women, I think that could have added a little bit to what Cody was feeling. There was also a part where Cody talks about why having more than one wife is beneficial for everyone in the marriage. He basically says that if a wife is happy but he's not, then he'll have another wife to go spend time with. Then if he is happy but the wife isn't happy and wants less time with him, she can send him off somewhere else. But he doesn't actually explain what will happen if he is happy and the wife is happy. Does that mean he just neglects the other wife in the marriage? Because it seems like that is what happened here. It seems like Robin's fairly happy and he's happy, so everyone else is just getting neglected. And Meri actually has a pretty good response to this. I'm going to go ahead and put a clip in, but before I do, I just want to point out that it felt like Meri really was at a turning point. It felt like in this episode she was more honest than ever about how things are going in her relationship and the other relationships. But I'm going to go ahead and put the clip in here.
Maybe you should look at the whole big picture then in a situation like that and figure out how you can work together.
She actually says that the comment makes her want to vomit. She doesn't like it when Cody says, he can go to another wife when he's unhappy with one wife. I think Meri really feels it when he says that because that's what he's doing to her. He's just ignoring her. He's unhappy with what happened, and now she's pushed to the side, and he's going to go spend time with the other wives instead of working on their marriage and really working on it or making a decision to end it. He just gets to go to another wife's house. So I'm sure Meri doesn't like hearing comments like that. There is a part where one of the other men asks Kody what he wishes he would have done differently. And he says there was a time when Christine was saying that she hated polygamy, and he wishes he would have been more sympathetic. He wishes he would have said, I know it's hard, and been there for her a little bit more. But to me, this is just more proof that Kody doesn't actually understand why Christine is leaving, because she's not leaving just because she doesn't like polygamy. She's leaving because she doesn't like how Kody treats her. I don't think Kody is getting it. That can't possibly have been the thing he would change. If he really understood what had happened, it would have had to have been something else. But Kody says that back in Utah, he worked all the time, and Christine was just wanting things from him that he couldn't provide because he was trying to be there for everyone else. And then they go over to Christine during a confessional, and she basically says, you know, polygamy wasn't the problem. It was the fact that Kody wasn't there for her and for her children when she needed him to be there. And the kids aren't just her kids. They're his kids as well.
They're not just my kids and my responsibility. They're our children.
So Christine says that Kody isn't there for her kids the way he should be, but then she also points out that he was there for Robin's kids and Robin immediately. As soon as she entered the family, he was there for her whenever she needed it. And that wasn't how he was with her, like Christine. She wasn't getting her needs met. Her children weren't getting their needs met. But of course, Kody disagrees, and during a confessional, he says Robin didn't get any special treatment. Robin didn't get anything more than anyone else. And it's during this time we hear Robin explain why she has to have a nanny.
Cody's gone 3/4 of the time, and that's why I had childcare help.
Okay, she said childcare help, but I think they were trying to explain the nanny situation. That is my theory. I think Kody probably had a list of things he wanted to do this season to try to make himself and Robin look better. So they are trying to justify why there's a nanny in the house. And I just want to say something. If you have a nanny, I absolutely don't think that's wrong. I don't care at all. If you need childcare help or a nanny, you need one. But here's my problem, and I've mentioned this before when I talk about this family. There was Robin, Meri, Janelle, Christine, and Kody. You have so many adults that are supposed to be in the parenting role for these kids. How is it no one wanted to help her? No one wanted to come over for an afternoon and watch her kids? They couldn't swap out childcare duties. She couldn't have said to Christine, hey, I'll watch the kids, all of them, if you'll give me an afternoon free and watch my kids. They couldn't do that? Like, what was the deal that made it so bad where they couldn't help her? I really do think this was a part of the problem where Robin says she never felt like she was in the family. Yeah, I feel like they weren't working as a family. And so many of the kids were older. Like, so many of them were getting in their teen years. You can't tell me that they wouldn't have came over and babysat her kids. We know McKelty did. McKelty went over there to help out. Why didn't they actually just rotate some of the girls around and say, hey, you know what? Or some of the boys, I shouldn't have said just girls, some of the teenagers around and said, hey, you guys can earn some extra money if you help out with some babysitting responsibilities in the family. You know, maybe one afternoon a week, you can get some cash if you watch some of the younger kids over at Robin's or over at Christine's house or wherever it was needed. I'm just saying there's so many people in this family. Why did they have to even look outside of immediate family for childcare? I just don't get it. I hope I expressed that right. I feel like most people don't think she should have had a nanny, but every now and then someone will come along and they're like, what's your problem with people having nannies? I'm like, I don't have a problem with most people having a nanny. I have a problem in this family. It just feels like, I don't know, it feels like it indicates that something's not right. Like everyone's not coming together the way a normal family would. Not a family of this size. Something just feels a little off about it. After the man trip ends, Kody heads over to Janelle's apartment. And you guys, when he walks in the door, there's no warmth between the two of them. Janelle does not get up off the couch and go over and say, hey, haven't seen you in a week, and give him a hug. He doesn't go toward her. there's just no warmth there. He actually goes in the house. He mentions it's cold. He gets some water. But what he also points out is that they have a very small Christmas tree. He actually says, you guys have a really small Christmas tree. Not you have a nice Christmas tree, or I remember those ornaments, or the house looks nice. It's you have a very small Christmas tree. It's like he just had to point it out. And I also just think it's worth mentioning, like, he doesn't say, oh, we're having a small Christmas tree. It is very much that is Janelle and Janelle's Christmas tree in Janelle's home. It is not their home and their stuff. But she says, yeah, she is going to take it to the Airbnb that she has rented. So she's actually going to take this little Christmas tree with her. But I just thought it was one of those things where Kody walked in and had to make a point of saying something that was a little bit rude, but not too rude, kind of on the fence of rudeness. Yeah. Or I'm reading way too much into it, and you guys can let me know in the comments. Maybe I am. Now, before I move on from the Christmas tree, there is a clip I'm going to throw in where Kody says something else about it. Here it is.
This Christmas tree, it's like the complete degradation of our family unit.
I think it's pretty obvious the dude has a problem with the Christmas tree. So this is where things finally go down between Janelle and Kody. We have been watching clips from this argument during the trailers for this season. You know, they are sitting on the couch and things just get really heated. It is interesting though. Most of what is being said is stuff we have already heard. However, Kody does make a point. He says that Janelle will say stuff during the confessional that she won't say to his face. Now, I like Janelle, but I do think there's a little bit of truth to her holding back when they actually talk to each other. Even when it's all of the wives together, and it's not just Janelle. I feel like the wives hold back from saying what they want to say to Kody, but Kody always gets to just say everything. And I don't know what the reason is. Maybe they're just avoiding making him angry. Maybe they don't want to deal with that. Maybe his outbursts are too much, and so they don't feel like they can say what they really need to say. But I feel like Kody always is comfortable just to say whatever he wants. But then when you're watching them all talk together, you know that Janelle's not saying everything, and you know Christine isn't, and Meri isn't. They seem to really hold back. So he accuses her of that, and I think there's some truth to it, but I don't think it necessarily makes her a bad person, and I don't think she's doing it on purpose. I don't think she's like, I'm going to go during a confessional and talk bad about Kody. I don't think that is what she's doing, but something has them kind of hold back when they're all together. Kody, of course, is just saying stuff we've already heard Kody say before. He focuses in on loyalty, how she is talking behind his back. It's all the same old Kody stuff, except I do think he just learned the word gaslight because he says it so many times. And then there is this part where Janelle says it back to him, and he's like, you're just using that word because I use that word. So I think gaslight is a new word for him. The argument starts and they're talking about COVID and the fact that he is not getting along well with the boys in the family still. Janelle says the boys asked her if Kody would end up stopping by the rental they're going to have for Christmas. And she told the boys probably not. But you can tell she's telling this to Kody to see what he's going to say. Like maybe he's going to swing by and see them all, right? But of course he says no. He's not going to do that. And I'm going to put in the clip here so you can hear it.
The boys were asking if you thought you would come over, and I said I wasn't optimistic.
No, I'm not coming over. It's I have a house. I have a place where we would have Christmas.
Clearly in that scene, they are still very calm and they're just talking. But I thought this was interesting because he says, I have a house where we can have Christmas. Right now, his family is not getting along very well. It might actually be a good idea to have had Christmas somewhere else where it's not them all going to Robin's house. This family has done rentals before. One of the first seasons, they rented a cabin for Christmas. So it's not unheard of for this family. And right now with all the conflict they're having, it might have been a good idea to go somewhere that was more neutral. And you know what? It would have been a really nice gesture for Kody to go there. Even if it was a surprise to stop by and go, hey, I just wanted to see everyone. It would have been a way for him to reach out. He could have told Janelle that there, you know what, I'm going to take some time after the kids at Robin's open presents to come over and see you guys. I do want to reach out to the boys. But no, Kody cannot do that. And I think Kody needs to realize Christmas is never going to be the same. It's never going to be the same. Even if Janelle wasn't leaving, things have just changed. So he's going to have to do things a little bit differently. But when he says he has a house where he can have Christmas, he has set himself up for this. And he does say at one point, it's probably his fault this is happening. And I'm like, yeah, Kody, it's definitely your fault this is happening. But I don't know why he can't swing by there. It just would have been nice. It might have made a huge difference in his relationship with his kids, even if it didn't change anything with Janelle. But of course, Kody can't do that. There's also a part where she's like, why didn't you call them? And of course, Kody says, the phone goes both ways. Well, you know what? You're the dad, you're older, you have a little bit more life experience. You could have picked up the phone and called. He's never going to get that, though. I think he just doesn't get it, and I don't really understand why. It's also really clear when they are arguing that Kody wants to blame Janelle for everything the boys think. According to him, it's all happening because Janelle has talked about him. Janelle has put those feelings in the boys' heads. But then it's also up to Janelle to communicate to the boys for him. And it's also up to Janelle to maintain the relationships. And according to him, create a united front. Like, all of the responsibility falls on Janelle instead of him saying, I should have done a better job at talking to the boys, or I should have worked harder to reach out for him. It's like Janelle has to do all the work for him to have a good relationship with her children. And that is what we saw with Christine as well. He can't have a good relationship with the kids because of the wife. No, Kody, you don't have a good relationship with your kids because you don't have good relationships with them, and it has nothing to do with the moms. But, you know, Janelle actually says he's doing all the same stuff he did to Christine and that he did to Meri. So she's just getting what they've been getting the whole time. He ignores them, he accuses them of things, he neglects their needs, and now she is on the receiving end of it, and you can tell she is really fed up. As they're talking and Kody is accusing her of being disloyal, there is a point where he is talking about them not agreeing on the COVID rules and they're not parenting together. And I want to put a clip in of what he asked her and how she responded.
Your co-parent was Christine. Why?
Because, Kody, you were never available. Never been
That
available.
is such a lie.
This is one of the few times I feel like Kody Brown actually sees things the way viewers see things. Many of us see Christine and Janelle as a family. We see them parenting the kids together. It's clear here Kody sees it as well. He wants to know why they co-parent together. And she said what we've all watched happen on the show. He wasn't available. Christine was there for her and there for her kids. They're important to each other. They filled roles that they needed to be filled in their lives with each other. Kody didn't do that. So now he's sort of on the outside and he wants to know why. Well, for years and years and years, he wasn't available. And maybe in the beginning, it wasn't specifically Robin. Maybe it was just being, split between the wives and the kids. But then it did become Robin. We watched the show and saw it become Robin. Robin was the favorite. She got all the time, and Kody was no longer available. We heard Christine in this episode say when Robin came in, immediately she got all of her needs met. The kids got attention from him. It's clear that Christine and Janelle did what they needed to do, and it made them form their own little family. As things keep going, Kody gets more angry. You can tell that Janelle is getting more frustrated as well. He begins accusing her of lying and exaggerating about things. And then there is a point where Janelle finally responds, and it actually makes Kody shut up for just a few seconds.
But you and Robin are the paragons of honesty and perfection.
I just thought that was interesting. It's not often, and it definitely didn't happen during this argument. There's not a lot of moments where when Kody's heated and angry where he stops after someone says something and just pauses. So I felt like that really got to him enough to make him stop talking. But it just gets more and more heated, and it's sort of circular. It's not really going anywhere. Eventually, she tells Kody to shut his mouth because he will not let her finish talking. This makes him so angry, he jumps up and he leaves. You know what? It wasn't going anywhere. If you really watch the argument and go back and watch it again, they weren't getting anywhere. Kody was the problem. He wasn't getting anything she was saying. And at one point she was trying to tell him this is bigger than COVID, but it's not to him. That's all it is to him. To him, the problem is no one was respecting him, and it caused problems in the family. It's like, no, Kody, there were other issues. This just helped bring them all to light, but Kody doesn't get it. Janelle says it took her a while to calm down after the argument, but when she did calm down, she had called Kody and told him to come over and get his stuff. So Kody has been moved out of another wife's house now. Like, he is out of Janelle's home as well. And then this is where things get sad. I mean, it was already an emotional show, but Janelle says she realizes she is in a bad situation.
I have nothing financially. I am tied up in this property.
So, of course, we all know that property she's talking about is Coyote Pass. We have watched Janelle try to push for the family to put money into the property and start building there, but it just hasn't happened. I know a few of you felt like she was planning on leaving the whole time, and that was why she was pushing for it. She wanted to get a home out there so she had something to leave. I read plenty of comments where people thought that. It's absolutely possible that was true, but she is being forced into a situation where they're just not building. Kody's not doing it. And now she's ready to leave. She just doesn't feel like she can stay with him any longer. So it didn't maybe work out the way she had hoped it would. I mean, I think that's a possibility. I don't know. You know, maybe she wasn't planning it at all and just wanted to be out there on the property. But I do think it's possible that she was planning on getting the home built and then leaving. I don't know. But right now there's nothing there, and she is renting this little apartment. And as she points out, everyone else has homes. Everyone else has something. But Kody does make a point of saying he tried to get her to get a house, which is true. But I think Janelle knew they would never move out there if they all had bought their own homes. They would never have homes out there until their kids were grown and out of the house. And I think she's right. There's nothing that leads me to believe they're really going to have homes out there anytime soon.
I am a smart woman, and I have done this very dumb thing.
It's going to be interesting to see how this plays out and if she actually gets anything from Kody at all. I mean, I just don't see it happening. I'm going to be very surprised if he helps her. To me, Kody is the type that's just going to say, go. Just go. Forget that she's still raising Savannah and that she's invested in the home for Robin and that property. I'm going to be interested in seeing if she just ends up walking away with nothing. I hope that's not the case, but I don't have a lot of faith in Kody. When Janelle is talking, she also talks about the fact that Kody never feels that he can leave a wife. So no matter what's happening, he will not leave. He needs the wife to go. And Janelle says there seems to be this pattern where he ignores someone and tries to push them away. And she feels like that is what Kody is actually doing with her. She thinks he is over polygamy. And so he's just pushing, the other wives away so he can be only with Robin. Of course, Kody would deny that, but I could see that happening. Even if it's not intentional, I think Kody's just lost interest in everyone else. And so, just ignore them. I think that's what he's doing there. After this, things lighten up a lot, but only for a few minutes. We see Christine telling Garrison how to make the rolls. They're doing a video chat, and she's telling him how to make them for his girlfriend. And all I can think is, I'm going to have to find this roll recipe and make them myself. I do not have very good luck with biscuits or rolls. That's just not my thing. I'm better off buying them at the store. I'm going to have to try her recipe because they must be really good. After that, we see Meri, Robin, and Kody get together to talk about Christmas and what happened with Janelle. Of course, they're sitting outside. Everything is brown and it looks gloomy. I'm telling you guys, if I did not know better, I would think they just filmed these all in one day. It never looks like the weather is nice. They always look miserable and cold, and they're in Arizona. I guess it's when they film. That's the only thing I can think is like they're always filming around the holidays in the fall, but it's almost, I don't know, it always looks the same. But they get together to talk about what is going to happen for Christmas, and what happened with Janelle. And I think this episode and what happened in this episode, even though Meri wasn't a part of it, it just feels like it's a turning point for Meri. You can tell she's uncomfortable. She doesn't know where she fits in. And it seems like she's going to listen to what Robin and Kody have to say, but that doesn't mean she believes it. And you can really tell in this episode. While they're sitting there talking, he tells Robin and Meri that he had a fight with Janelle, and he explains what Janelle is doing for Christmas. You know, Janelle's going to be on her own, and then Christine and her are spending time together after Christmas. So he sees it as, you know, Janelle's not being loyal to him, while we all see it as Janelle spending time with her kids. They start discussing what the three of them, are going to do, and Meri says that she's in a really weird spot.
I'm not in the Kody and Robin married club. I'm not in the Janelle and Christine friend club.
At one point, she actually says she is the third wheel to Robin and Kody. And during another point, she mentions that if she goes over to Robin and Kody's for Christmas, it's Robin and Kody's house. But if they come over to her house, it's just Meri's house. And she can see that there's a difference. As viewers, we've often done that with the kids, right? Those are Robin and Kody's kids, they'll say our kids, but then it's Janelle's kids, Meri's kids. So it looks like Meri is actually seeing how this is in her own life. She's not a part of that marriage, and she understands it now. I think Meri is sad. I think Meri's probably feeling very lonely. You know, she's not a part of the children's lives. And I know some of these kids don't want to have a relationship with her. They didn't like growing up with her. They absolutely have the right to not be around her if they don't want to. But I do think Meri's lonely, whether it's deserved or not. I think Meri sort of placed herself on the outside because she didn't get along with Christine and Janelle. She liked Robin, but here, you know, Robin's sort of betraying her. And I don't know if it's intentional or if Robin's just doing it to please Kody, but I don't think Robin's helping Meri's situation with Kody, but I do feel like during this episode, we hear Meri acknowledge that things aren't good, that she's not in a real marriage with Kody, and I think it just feels like things are ending for them as well. Even though we're focusing on Janelle a lot in this episode, I think Meri's kind of doing her own thing as well. They do agree to all go over to Meri's house for Christmas Eve. That is a tradition that the family has had for a long time. Meri used to actually make the kids all Christmas pajamas. If you've watched the show, they have shown the pajamas she's made before, but then she started buying them for all the kids. She asked if she should invite everyone over. It's clear that's going to end up being an uncomfortable situation. So she says she's probably just going to have Robin over. It's just a really weird situation for Meri, and I think she feels really sad that all the kids aren't going to be there. Meri actually hints that she doesn't even know if she wants to go around at Christmas. She says that there hasn't been Christmas magic for her in years, and maybe it's time for her to make her own. So yeah, I was pleasantly surprised when I saw Meri on this episode and how she acted. I'm really looking forward to seeing her leave as well. I feel horrible saying that, but like, it's long overdue for Meri. Before I end this video, there is one more thing I want to point out. There is a part where Kody says the boys aren't talking to me, and I want you to hear what Meri says back to Kody.
Have you tried?
Yeah, I've reached out to basically everybody.
Did he just say that he has reached out to everybody? So is he just flat out lying now? I don't think Meri believes him. I think Meri knows he hasn't reached out because he doesn't reach out to her. There is one more scene that I want to show you, and it's just edited really weird. I want to be clear, I did not cut this down. This is how it was on the show. So listen to Meri and Kody talk.
She's colluding with them.
Do you think she's colluding with them?
Absolutely.
Did that conversation actually happen like that? Did she just ask him what? Did you guys feel like that was really weird? It'd be like, it's raining outside. Is it raining outside? Yes, it's raining outside. What happened? Did it actually go down like that? Did she actually ask him that question after he had just said it? It feels really weird. I also wonder if Kody just learned the word colluding. That's possible. It's there with gaslight and colluding. Those will be the words we hear the entire rest of the season. Meri also mentions that when people are angry, they have blinders on and they can't see things the way they really are. And it's possible Janelle isn't actually saying anything to her boys about Kody. No, she doesn't say that to Kody. She says that during a confessional, which means that in the future, Kody is going to hear this and then call Meri a liar and say that she is saying stuff to the people watching the show, but not to Kody directly. So her moment will come if she doesn't leave him before he gets to watch this episode. But I just think Meri has made a turn and I'm happy to see it. So that is all for this episode. I always tell you guys my favorite part is reading the comments. I don't always have time to respond to all of them, but I definitely read them. I'll be scrolling through on my phone when I have some time to see what everyone thinks. So feel free to leave comments. I look forward to hearing what you guys have to say. If you haven't already, go ahead and click like and subscribe.